where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki dives onto the right side, very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the lap car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will clip the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernot. Gernot will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Good evening, good and abend. Buenos dias and welcome to the first round of 2017 Season 1 Classic Lotus Grand Prix here from the beautiful, picturesque and legendary Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan. As per usual, this is a Trailer TV production. I am Joonas Puhakka and alongside with me in the broadcast booth is the 3-time champion Tapani Linnaluoto. How are you doing tonight?
Fine, thanks.
And also doing the behind the cameras doing the work of 5 men is not Eero who's a horseman this time. Instead we have Mr. Aleksi Elomaa taking his place for tonight's race and maybe next week as well. And we have the qualifying already underway. The first laps. Drivers are on their first lap. We'll see who will jump on board with. I think we should jump on board with last season's champion, Mr. Sergio Macias, who will now have the formidable challenge of defending his title. And I think I should ask somebody who actually has experience from that. Tapani, which is more difficult, winning your first title or defending it?
Oh well, this season I would especially say defending.
Fair enough. They say in boxing circles and in fighting circles that the first title defense is the mark of a true champion. So we'll see what Sergio Macias can do in terms of that. But he will not have it easy tonight because we have a tough field here. The usual suspects, Gernot Fritsch, Kalle Ruokola challenging him as well as Fabian Gerber, Nuno Moreira and other very fast drivers, Michael Vandenberg and Ian Card as well in this race, as is Juha Nodelampi, our resident qualifying ace. And then we have a little bit of, should I say, Finnish invasion, no?
Yes, there's a virus going on here in Finland. It causes people to drive the Lotus 79, if that makes any sense. Especially Joni Takanen will be seeing a lot of tonight. Fighting for the lead. Of course, there are other very good drivers from Finland that we're not usually seeing here. Joni Backman, Joni Hagner, Joni Heikkinen. Oh my god, these Jonis.
Yeah, a lot of people named Joni here. And that is just, you have Joni Takanen, you have Joni Beckman, you have Joni Hagner, you have Joni Heikkinen, and then you have Joonas Nukarinen as well. So you have 4 people named Joni here in this server. Then you also have a Juha, so try not to get confused with these names. We'll certainly not get confused because we are used to it, but those watching from the home may have a little bit more difficult time separating these drivers from each other, as Sergio Macias is already well underway on his first qualifying lap. The weather here, by the way, clear skies, 23 degrees Celsius air temperature, and track is, as per usual we've seen this week, 41 degrees Celsius, and these are conditions the drivers are very well used to at this point. I even heard some people wishing for different kind of conditions for this race, but it was not to be, so 41 degrees track it is, clear skies, 23 degrees air, as I mentioned previously. And Sergio Macias is already coming towards the famous 130R on his first lap. Then it is the Casio Triangle and the creatively named last curve after that, and a run up to the finish line now. The first lap, as those who have watched our broadcast last season will know, is not the faster lap. In fact, it is the second lap. So Sergio Macias, let's see what time can he put on the board here. 148.4, and that is actually a very good time at this point. That was actually faster than Joni Takanen on his first lap as well, so the defending champion is on the pace already. 10 through the first turn. Yes, the first turn on this track is named first turn, I am not kidding you. And after that it is through the S's, and these S's are not easy at all to drive. How would you describe driving through these negatively cambered and very slippery corners in this car? What are the important things to know?
From the S-curves?
Yeah, from the S's.
Well, they're very technical. You have to position your car very carefully from one corner to another. If you screw up one, you screw up the next one, and maybe the next one as well. And you also have to know how much you can push the car, because it's corner after corner after corner, so you can't cool down your tires in between. So it combines a lot of different skills with the car, and many of the other corners as well are very famous and technical. Coming into Spoon, which is to Apex, were very technical and difficult to go fast. Negatively cambered exit, easy to spin up to tires. Many great corners combined in one great track. It's one of my great favorites and one of the very most difficult ones to get right.
Indeed, designed by John Hugenholtz, the great John Hugenholtz, who also designed... Excuse me, I have nothing in my throat. So, designed the great circuits such as Zandvoort and Ahvenisto as well, so designed also the Suzuka Circuit, as Sergio Macias coming towards the line for his second time, and this will be the lap. 148.4, so doesn't improve. Takanen does improve. 48.3, so he's currently sitting in the pole position. Gernot Fritz third. Then it's Nuno Moreira, Joni Heikkinen, Andrea Ventura, Joni Beckman, Joni Hagner, Fabian Gerber and Kalle Ruokala. Let's see who we still have on track. Gernot Fritz is still on his second lap. So let's jump on board with him as he comes through the Dunlop curb and 10 through the Degners. First apex with the fourth gear or third gear, second apex with the second gear, 10 under the bridge and coming towards the hairpin. And it's very crucial to get the hairpin exit just so. You cannot go on the throttle too early, and it can be very difficult to get the car turned in, and Gernot does fairly good work just slipping and sliding a little bit on the exit, but manages to make it work 10 through the 200R, which is one of the faster corners on this track. In fact, you don't need to lift at all here with the Lotus 79, as you don't need to do with most of the cars on this service as well, and 10 through the second apex of the Spoon. So, coming towards the back straight, Gernot Fritz is on his lap that counts, currently sitting in the third position on the field. He is aiming for a time of 148.378, which would take him to the pole position. It is currently held by our newcomer, Joni Takanen, who has certainly set this place on fire on his first season. And sorry, Tapani, you need to go for
Can I continue?
Yeah.
It seems the second lap is not necessarily the fast one. It's a difficult one to make through 2 full laps in these high temperatures to work correctly. You have a bit different strengths on each lap. Warmer tires versus colder tires. Different corners are faster and so on. But you can make the second go faster if you get everything right. Maybe the first one is the easier one to get a good time with.
Indeed so, and as we are seeing here, in fact, it is a bit surprising to me because the second lap felt faster when I was doing some practice laps myself, but that's not necessarily the case here. So, in fact, a lot of these drivers have done their best on the first lap, and the grid is now set and we are ready to go underway racing in our first race of the season. Joni Takanen is on the pole position. Alongside him will start the defending champion Sergio Macias. On the second row it is Gernot Fritz and Joni Beckman with a very impressive qualifying for him as well. Johan Orlampi in the 5th place. Alongside him will be starting Andrea Ventura. Then it's Nuno Moreira, Joni Heikkinen, Alex Milward and Joni Hagner rounding out your top 10. Fabian Gerber 11th. And Kalle Ruokala only 12th on the first race, a surprisingly lowly qualifying position, should I say, for him. Michael van den Berg and Ian Card are in the 8th row, then Xavier Sanchez, Cedric Krotzik, Tobias Gerber, Joonas Nukarinen, Gerd Höfer, Torsten Kaul, Gord Chenet, Julien Flora, San Vilchar, Mark Pickford, David Rodriguez, Rafael Cabrera, Teemu Toikka, Jesus Basilas, Travis Bowling, Nathaniel Porter, and Brian D. Howard running out your 31 driver field. And yes, the race did indeed split, so we have almost a record attendance here in the first race of the season. That is just brilliant to see.
Yeah, especially 2 full fields of 30 plus drivers. There's going to happen a lot today on the track, as we saw in the previous race, which was full of battles between 2 or more drivers. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be very interesting indeed. Less than 30 seconds to go to the race start. Any last second predictions?
I hope Sergio and Joonas can put the battle to Mr. Takanen. Unfortunately, it may not be easy for them too, but hopefully they can put up a good battle.
Indeed, that is what I'm hoping too. Now it's less than 10 seconds to go. Drivers soon starting to rev up their engines already, and then they are watching the red light. Then the red lights go out, and we are underway. First race of the season, Classic Lotus Grand Prix is underway. And from the pole position, Joni Takanen takes a bit sketchy start. He has cars on his both sides. Sergio Macias challenging already on the inside, and he goes through. Can Macias go through, or can Joni Takanen battle him? They are still side by side, heading into the SS. Joni Beckman already in the 3rd position. Gernot Fritz in the 4th. Gernot already had a chance to take the lead, but choose to back out of it, and it is Joni Takanen taking the lead in the first lap, coming through the last section of the SS, soon towards the Dunlop curve. For the first time, it is Takanen, then it's Macias, Beckman, Fritze, Andrea Ventura in the 5th position, Noralampi, Moreira, Heikkinen, and Hagner is already being challenged by Alex Milward on the first lap, and Alex Milward goes through. And there is also a gas crash in the Dunlop corner, and it does involve a couple of drivers at least. Jesus Basilas and Nathaniel Porter seems to be involved in that one. Other drivers as well. A lot of trouble, and seem to start from Rafael Cabrera, getting a little bit sideways, hitting the Stanley BRM car off Gorchenet, and then Rafael goes sideways. He's hit from behind a couple of other cars, and terrible accident there on the first lap. So a couple of backmarkers already out of this race in the first lap, and that is never ever a good sight to see. But it seems to be that Joni Takanen seems to be controlling in this race early on, but I don't think Tapani Sergio will let him easy at all.
No, I just wish Sergio could have made it pass. It was very close in the first few corners. Not a very good start from Takanen, but he could make it.
He can make it indeed. Joni Takanen taking a little bit of a defensive line as they come to the KCO Triangle for the first time. Perhaps he was the last race of the last season, but either way, he is already trying to put a gap between himself and Sergio Macias, but it is not to be, and this is something. If Sergio can put the challenge to Joni Takanen in the early parts of this race, then that means that Joni Beckman, Gernot Fritz, and perhaps Andrea Ventura even can keep up with the man who has otherwise been driving, well, like a man possessed. Joni Takanen, he is currently leading this race, and it is his first broadcast start as well, so there is certainly some talent on display in here. Anyway, it looks to the aces right now that Takanen is a little bit faster as they come to the second lap. Still early parts, still early going, but it looks to me that there is right now about half a second between Sergio Macias and Joni Takanen for the battle in the lead. And Joni Beckman is staying there surprisingly well. He's holding Gernot Fritz back, and it looks like to me that Gernot Fritz is, for right now at least, pretty content in staying there, but Gernot Fritz is a very experienced driver, so we know that he knows when he has to attack and when it's better to just stay back and let the situation develop itself. Either way, we have a 4-car lead pack currently separating themselves from the other drivers. Andrea Ventura is 5th, and Juha Noralampi, Nuno Moreira, Joni Heikkinen, Alex Milward, and Joni Hagner, Kalle Ruokala, Fabian Gerber as well. So this battle will also stretch on, involving some very good names indeed. So Kalle Ruokala is in the 11th position currently, and that is something I wanted to talk about. Tapani, isn't it a little surprising to see Kalle start off the season slowly, at least early on?
Well, the field is very tough. If you don't have the practice, it's easy to get stuck in the edges of top 10, maybe. It's very much we
Oh,
haven't
and
seen
also there's a mistake by Johanna Lampi, I think, and it breaks really deep in the Casio triangle. And at the last second, Andrea Ventura has to give him the way, and that means also 3 wide. Oh! Joni Heikkinen into the wall, on the roof, at the last corner. Oh my word, a terrible accident there. And he was a victim of the circumstances, trying to get a good exit, going to the outside of the last corner. Andrea Ventura tried to give room to the driver that was on the inside. It was Nuno Moreira on the inside, holding his line pretty well. And then at the last second, they hit each other, and Joni Heikkinen goes into the wall at the last corner on his roof. A terrible accident for him, and that means that for the second time today, this very promising young Finn is out of the contention, out of the points contention, and that is a tragedy for him as well as the other drivers involved in that one. So that also means that we have the battle shaping again, because right now it's Johanna Lampi who is holding the 5th position, then it's Nuno Moreira 6th, Alex Milward and Joni Hagner, and then there is a gap between Joni Hagner and Fabian Gerber. But if the previous seasons have taught me anything, it is that Fabian Gerber is one guy who can catch this back up, especially if they keep on battling like we've seen already early on in this race.
It is very unfortunate for Heikkinen. He's been very unlucky this first week. I hope his luck catches up later.
And also we have one driver around, and I believe that is the driver of Tobias Gerber, who was around in the hairpin, manages to get going underway again through 200R, but will be losing a lot of position. In fact, he was hit in the back by Andrea Ventura, who was able to carry a lot more speed than Tobias Gerber to the hairpin, and that's just a little bit of a clumsy accident. I think Tapani, what happened there was Andrea was caught out by the fact that Tobias didn't seem to go as fast through there as he was maybe expecting.
Yeah, sometimes the hairpin can catch you out. People have slightly different lines in the entry and in the exit. But if you're behind, you have to be careful for those differences.
Indeed. So also update from your lead pack. It is Joni Takanen still in the lead. 1.7 seconds between him and the second place Sergio Macias after only 3 laps. So it seems indeed to me that at least early on in this race, Joni Takanen is able to hold his own on the lead with very little challenge from the other drivers. So Sergio Macias in the second place, Johnny Beckman is in the 3rd place, and Gernot Fritsch, ever so alert, is in the 4th position. That is the train that seems to be now reduced to battling. Oh, Gernot goes a little bit wide on the first Beckner, but manages to keep it under control like only a 13-time champion can. And Johanna Lampi is in the 5th position, and Nuno Moreira, Johanna Lampi, Alex Milward and Joni Hagner. This will be a battle to watch out for early on, because I think that Johnny Beckman doesn't want to rush the overtake from Sergio Macias, nor does Gernot Fritsch rush the overtake right now. They will leave it for later on. But these guys, Nuno Moreira and Alex Milward especially, I've been impressed so much by the pace that this young British driver, Alex Milward, is showing early on in this season. He is number 28 in this race, remember. Certainly an underdog, but he is currently running in the 7th position. He is challenging established Lotus 79 drivers such as Nuno Moreira and Johanna Lampi very early on. Qualified in the 9th position, is currently 7th, and he is not losing an inch to Nuno Moreira. That's impressive.
Yeah, he's been active in the forums, been interested in the car and its specifics. Got a lot of potential if he can make it consistently to the finish and challenge the other drivers.
Indeed, so it seems like the crown and the British hopes, the hopes of the Union Jack, are soon to be raised from the shoulders of Ian Card, who has been holding the fort vigilantly for so long. As they go side by side into turn number 1, Johanna Lampi and Nuno Moreira. Moreira trying to go around the outside, Johanna Lampi on the inside there, still side by side exiting, but it looks to me that Nuno Moreira is able to hold on to that position. Juha still trying to challenge him to the SS, and there comes Milward. Milward alert, but Johanna Lampi is able to fend him off for now. So Nuno Moreira with a beautiful move goes around the outside in the first corner and takes the 5th position away from Mr. Noralampi ever so fast in the qualifying. And now the challenge is, can Juha Noralampi hold on to the under the rear wing of Nuno Moreira, or will Alex Milward have to make his overtake quick, and I mean quick, because that is something to watch out for. Joni Hagner, also involved in the battle, seems to be content with staying in the back early on, and Joni Hagner is one driver who I shall mention is also a newcomer in this series, is a very established veteran from the GD side of things, is in fact a blank paint GD World Championship driver here on iRacing, so he certainly has racing experience, but Tapani, I wouldn't say that Joni Hagner has been exactly smoothly transitioned here to this series.
Well, have he driven here before?
No, he hasn't driven here before at all.
Right, well then, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good for him, and it seems like he can hold his temper under control, so to speak, because he is one driver who is quite aggressive in terms of driving style. He tends to take a lot of curb, he tends to slide car around a lot, but he also has immaculate car control. He is able to get away with it and drive on such a level because of his incredible car control and his incredible skills. But if he can put all that together into one single package, I think this is someone who we will hear a lot from in the future, as is Joni Heikkinen. Unfortunately out of the race. Johanna Lampi goes a little bit sideways on the exit of the first corner. Alex Milward now very, very close to him. And I think Alex Milward is seeing his chance of catching Nuno Moreira, slipping ever so slowly away if he is stuck behind Johanna Lampi for a couple of laps more, because Juha is starting to slip a little bit, and we know when Juha is starting to slip that it can create a separation to the front very quickly indeed. So Alex Milward right now has to look for the overtake. But the overtaking here, we talk a lot, Alex Milward goes a little bit wide on the first deckner. We talk a lot about overtaking in this series. It's not as easy as it seems. You don't get the draft from very far away. You only get it from about 0.6, 0.7 of a second away. So what are the optimal overtaking locations with this car, in your opinion?
Well, surprisingly you can, if you're, first of all, you have to be close to the car in front, like in at one car length behind. One surprising place is after the spoon into 130R. Surprisingly, you can get a draft and get sideways there, and it's not a corner everybody wants to go side by side in.
I wouldn't.
And of course, after that, if you don't make the pass there, you can braking into Cassia Triangle, but chicane. It's one good place, and of course into turn 1 and into turn 2 side by side, because you can make the pass outside if the driver in front makes the defensive move on the main straight.
Indeed, so Nuno Moreira using that to great effect already against Johanna Lampi, so we'll now see what Alex Milward can do. It seems to me that Alex is using the track a little bit more aggressively than Juha right now. He's taking the curb a little more. There are some things you need to be cautious about regarding using the curbs. What are those exactly?
Well, every time you lift the car up on the curb, you lose some aerodynamic efficiency, downforce. Of course, if the curb is high and you put your bottom onto it, you can just slide on it and make the car just lose control. And of course, as usual, you don't want to bounce around much.
No, not at all, and it seems to me that Joni Hagner is right now in fact catching up to Alex Milward. I think Alex lost his concentration just a little bit when he saw the opportunity to catch Johanna Lampi. So right now there is a bit of separation between Juha and Alex, and Joni Hagner is looking very feisty indeed. Now behind Alex Milward, he's been surprisingly content in staying behind these guys for now. He has gained 2 positions early on in this race, mostly due to the accident that we saw earlier on between Joni Heikkinen and Andre Ventura, reducing those guys a little bit through the back. But right now he is looking to the inside at 130R, isn't quite close enough, but we'll see if he puts an overtaking move here onto the Casio Triangle. He thinks about it, but no, he doesn't, he stays back for now. But Alex Milward has to think about defending instead of attacking for now, and Joni Hagner is in his sights. And the thing is here, not many people in this series know about Joni Hagner. They don't know about how Joni Hagner prefers to drive. So I think the man from Pori is about to give them a lesson in how Joni Hagner operates. To the inside, into the first corner, here onto the second apex, but Alex Milward able to hold on very maturely indeed. Isn't put out of his line too much here. Just defending calmly, being very smooth, braking at his own position, and seeing what Joni Hagner can do, and most importantly, he doesn't seem to go for the feints.
Yeah, I think Hagner is taking it careful at this point.
Really?
And not trying to force the move yet, at least. Maybe later. Who knows? It's gonna be interesting if he can keep the distance very close.
Indeed, and one more person who is going to make this interesting is Fabian Gerber, because I've been steadily watching his lap times. He's been a little bit faster than Alex Milward on a couple of last laps. Johnny Hagner goes very sideways indeed at the exit of the hairpin, but manages to keep it under control thanks to his great car control, which I mentioned earlier on. But Fabian Gerber has been a couple of tenths faster in each of the last few laps. And right now he is not that far behind. He is in fact 1.3 seconds behind Johnny Hagner last time by. It seems to me that right now Fabian Gerber is even closer, so he could be joining the battle. Another person who could be perhaps theoretically join this battle is Kalle Ruokola, although he seems to be a little bit further away. And also Gernot Fritsch and Joni Beckman are now engaged in a very frivolous battle indeed. Gernot was trying to pass Joni to the outside into the Casio triangle, wasn't quite able to pull it off, but it seems to be that right now Gernot Fritsch is taking his chances coming into the first corner. Beckman takes a defensive line on the inside. Gernot Fritsch goes around the outside, but Joni Beckman very well defending that. Oh, in the second apex, trying to go for the crossover, but Joni Beckman doesn't go for it. The captain of Club Finland versus the master of Lotus 79 are battling it out. Meanwhile, further back, Joni Beckman and Alex Milward, Joni Hagner and Alex Milward side by side, and oh, they touch, and Joni is around, Hagner is around, and he rejoins the track. Is there damage to his car? He's being overtaken by both Michael van den Berg and Kalle Ruokola, as well as Fabian Gerber at this point, and it seems to me right now that just a little bit too little of a room. Just two cars colliding, racing incident, and as a result of that, Joni Hagner is around. But what will that do to his race? What will that do to his composer? That is the great question, and does he have damage? It seems to me that visually looking at least, his front wing is a little bit bent, but aside from that there doesn't seem to be anything big. However, the suspension of this car, as we know, Tapani, is very fragile indeed.
Yeah, but it can take some hits, and if it survives, it's just fine. It's the side pods and wings that usually in those side-by-side touches, that because they affect your aero drag, they are the worst things you can break aside from the suspension.
Indeed, so ground effect braking, and that can affect the handling of the car as well as the top speed of the car. So you can lose about half a second per 1 second per lap if you break the underbody of the car. Now Gernot Fritsch is still close. Whoa, he's trying really hard indeed, coming out of the last turn, and he is being put to work by Joni Beckman here. Now, as I said earlier on, I touched on it earlier on, both of these are very experienced racing car drivers indeed, so we should see some good and very clean battling between these two, but it seems to be right now that Joni Beckman, perhaps a little bit unsurprisingly, as Sergio Macias is the last season champion, cannot hold on to the back of him. So the gap already between Sergio Macias and Joni Beckman is 2.3 seconds last time by. Gernot Fritsch, I think, thinks that he has a better chance of catching up to Sergio Macias, or at least this is his chance to try and overtake Joni Beckman. They have a lot of space around them. Nuno Moreira behind them is already 6 seconds behind, so they certainly have the space if and when they start battling. But the thing is that Gernot Fritsch right now looks to be going a little bit sideways, but we've seen that a couple of times, Tapani, I think. We've seen that Gernot Fritsch can look to be having certain trouble, but if experience has taught me anything, it is that never ever count Gernot Fritsch out.
Yeah, I was looking in the qualifying, he was very sideways in some corners, but personally I don't do that sort of driving style, but you can certainly do it with this car because the tires are very forgiving for some extra slip angle, certainly.
Yes, indeed so, coming from experience here. I tend to go a little bit too sideways sometimes. I try to avoid it, of course, because it is not the fastest way to go around the track, but on the exits especially, you will see the Lotus 79 engage in some very glorious slides indeed. Gernot Fritsch again looking to the inside of Joni Beckman, but isn't quite close enough to make it work, and this is the thing here. These drivers both know, I think even though they haven't raced against each other too much previously, I think they know that they can trust each other, at least a little bit. I think Gernot Fritz has heard of Johnny Beckman. Johnny Beckman certainly has heard of Gernot Fritz, and they go to the first corner. Once again, Gernot looking to the outside. Can he hold on? Oh, very sideways indeed. Clears Johnny Beckman initially, but Beckman comes back onto the second apex and holds on to the third position. Remember, this is for the final podium position between these two veteran drivers, and we are seeing some fantastic racing on display. And folks, we still have 13 laps to go almost.
That's something we'll see again and again in this track, side by side into turn 1, and usually the outside car.
Oh, and Joni Hagner and Xavier Sanchez, excuse me, were going side by side through the S's as well. So Joni Hagner is under attack right now from Xavier Sanchez, who of course is better known as Heikki 360 ES, a famous streamer indeed. A very famous, especially in the Spanish-speaking parts of the world. And Xavier Sanchez and Joni Hagner are battling it out for the 11th position right now. We'll come back to that as it continues to develop, but it seems to me right now that Joni Hagner is starting to have a little bit of trouble in terms of pure throw pace after that collision. That collision earlier on with Alex Milward seems to have put his pace down just a little bit, so he's reduced to battling. Instead of battling for P number 7, P number 8, he's right now battling for P number 11, and that is not what the doctor ordered for his part of the race at all. So we'll see if that develops further on. Meanwhile, it is once again Gernot Fritz and Johnny Beckman coming towards Casey Triangle. Seems to me that Gernot Fritz is not as close enough as he was last time by, but still gaining. Seems to be having a little bit less wing than Beckman, perhaps, because he's gaining really rapidly, even if some of it is due to draft. He's gaining very rapidly on these straight sections. So 2-130R to the last corner, to Casey Triangle, and now coming towards the first corner. What can Gernot Fritz do here? He's again catching up very rapidly. He seemed to be a little bit too far away initially, but Johnny Beckman again forced to defend. Gernot Fritz looking to the inside, calls Johnny Beckman out on the fact that he wasn't defending all the way to the inside, but still is forced to hold on to the fourth position for right now, lap number 12 in this 23 lap race here at Suzuka. So the question is really at this point, oh, Johnny Beckman goes really wide on one part of the SS, almost the second to last part of the SS before they come towards the Dunlop curve. So I think Gernot Fritz saw that. And speaking of seeing certain things, speaking of driving behind another driver, what are some of the things that you personally take into account when you're following behind someone? Do you kind of like scout the other driver, his tendencies to brake late, brake early, some of the lines he takes to the corners?
Yes, of course, you have to know every detail of his driving style around the track, so you can gauge your strengths and his weaknesses, and plan for the final pass. There may be only one during the race, so you have to make it work. Basically, if you follow someone around for 20 laps or 10 or whatever, you learn where he's faster, where he's slower, and then you have to get closer just before his slower parts. So, and make the move then when you have
and
the
speaking
advantage.
of making moves, Gernot Fritz looking to the outside of the Casey Triangle, getting a very good exit from Despoon. They are side by side. Johnny Beckman defending the inside gallantly, going a little bit wide on the entry perhaps, but still very much in the limits of good, clean, hard racing. Getting a good exit of the last corner, but Gernot Fritz is now ever closer and closer. He's coming a little bit closer under the rear wing of Johnny Beckman each and every time they come around. So it seems to me right now that it's a question of time. Gernot Fritz looking to be inside once again in the first apex. In the second apex, very close to the back of Johnny Beckman once again, but he has to get creative at this point, because Johnny Beckman is very gifted at defending his position. He does it cleanly, but he also does it very effectively. But Gernot Fritz, I think he has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. In this situation that Gernot is in, what would those tricks be?
Well, you're certainly correct that he has a bit less wing. So Beckman's strengths are from the S's to the Dunlop and Degner curves into the hairpin section, and Gernot's strengths are after the hairpin, after spoon into 130R and to the end of the lap and into turn 1. So basically, Gernot just have to try to keep close in those downforce parts, and then use his advantage of higher top speed.
Oh,
wow.
And Gernot goes very wide and he's into the wall. Gernot Fritz is in the wall at the spoon corner. That seemed like a very much a technical issue to me, because he is right now stopped on the outside of the track and he is out of your raid, ladies and gentlemen. And he just went straight on the braking.
Yeah, that seemed a technical issue.
Yeah, technical issue for Gernot Fries, and he is out of the race, and Joni Beckman must be relieved. Also got it, I think, because he had a chance of a very good battle here and was taken away. But either way, right now your leading trio is Joni Takanen, Sergio Macias, Joni Beckman, and Nuno Moreira rising now to the 4th position in this race. Very unlucky for Gernot Fries, the Austrian, being taken by the bad luck in the first race of the season. Right now, what I'm looking at is the gap between Joni Beckman and Nuno Moreira. Nuno Moreira 1/10 faster last time by. They still have 10 laps to go in this race. So Nuno needs to catch up about half a second per lap. Joni Beckman is 10.4 seconds behind the leader. Nuno Moreira 15.7 seconds behind the leader, as we get a word from the pit lane, from the mechanics, from Gernot Fries himself, that he had a stuck throttle pedal. That's a very rare issue.
Yeah, and one of the sort of issues that killed drivers.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Luckily for Gernot, there was a very sturdy tire wall that softened some of the impact, but he is out of the race very certainly. So, speaking of battles right now, I'm surprised in fact that Johanna Lampi, well, not surprised, but I'm happy to see that Johanna Lampi is still able to hold on to the back of Nuno Moreira here. So in fact Nuno is in the 4th position. I was looking at the gap between him and Joni Beckman, and then I realized that there was a closer battle going by. There's a car behind him, and it is not a lap car, it is the car of Johanna Lampi, who is still right behind Nuno Moreira. And I think Juha might have something between his teeth.
Xavier Sanchez just passed Hagner.
Okay, so he's got the overtake down.
Sorry, there was some sort of mishap in the hairpin. They traded places a couple of times.
Okay, so Xavier Sanchez now ahead of Joni Hagner in the battle for what is right now the 10th position. So top 10 at stake here between Joni Hagner and Xavier Sanchez. Xavier Sanchez in his orange car. In the front, Joni Hagner behind in his Glacier Racing livery. Joni Hagner goes to the inside at 130R, thinks about it once again, double feint, but doesn't go for it. And that is very good decision, I think, from Joni Hagner. Once again, looking to the inside, he is battling, and this reminds me a lot of watching tapes from Nigel Mansell racing. Because Nigel Mansell used to be a guy, I think it was Ayrton Senna who said that you can see Nigel Mansell in both of your mirrors at the same time. Well, Joni Hagner greatly resembles that at this point. He goes to the outside, into the first turn. Can he pull off the demanding overtake? Xavier Sanchez on the inside, Joni Hagner on the outside. So looks like Joni Hagner goes a little bit sideways and Xavier closes the door on him on the exit. So the Spaniard still able to hold on to the 10th position. Joni Hagner still challenging him for that one. Let's see who is behind him. It is Cedric Krotzik, also doing very well from himself indeed, with car number 29 is at the 12th position, and he can see this battle. He can very certainly see this battle indeed. The Frenchman looking to perhaps pick up the scalps of if not both, then at least one of those guys, because this is a great situation for him. He can see these guys ahead of him, which could perhaps normally be faster. These guys could normally be faster than Cedric, but right now they're battling each other, and that means that he can join the battle if he can just put in good clean laps. We also have a question from one of our viewers by the name of Alt24, and I think it's directed towards you, Tapani. Besides turn 1, where will you overtake? We touched this subject briefly earlier on, but could you please care to give us the answer once again?
The first turn is of course one of the obvious ones, but it's not easy because it's very even between the inside and outside the lines. If the outside driver can commit properly, and then it's not much passing before the hairpin. After the hairpin, if you have a slightly less wing, you have a possibility into spoon. We haven't seen it here, but it can happen. And after that, it's into 130R if you have a good draft before 130R. And then, of course, into the case of triangle chicane after that.
Or let Joni Hagner demonstrate. Because
Yes.
I think he will soon do that. He was already looking to the inside in turn 1. And besides turn 1, where can you overtake? We got a great answer for that. Let's see if Joni Hagner can now put it into some practical use. Xavier Sanchez right now, I think he must be sweating quite a lot because he realizes that the overtake may not have been as easy as he initially thought. So he is experiencing firsthand what it is like to race against Johnny Hagner, and also Johnny Hagner experiencing racing against Xavier Sanchez. This is a very, very interesting race indeed. And oh, Hagner goes very sideways at the Dunlop curve. Oh my! He lost control of his car briefly, managed to just save it, keep it under control. Great save from Johnny Hagner, but unfortunately for him, he is right now very far back from Xavier Sanchez and also was overtaken by the Frenchman Cedric Crocic as a result of that incident. So right now Johnny Hagner has to gather his belongings once again. First time it was against Alex Milward at the exit of the first turn, and now it was all by himself at the Dunlop corner. So certainly very fast, but there needs to be some work on his consistency perhaps. Either way, he is now relegated to the 12th position in this race. Meanwhile, Kalle Ruokala and Michael van den Berg are still battling each other. We're not battling, but very close to each other indeed in the battle for 12th position. And Norolampi is also right now close to the back of Nuno Moreira in the main straight. Juha was all getting a very good run on the main straight indeed, so he is not content with just staying behind Nuno Moreira. I think he wants to overtake. And this is very, very, very good to see that we still have battles going on all around the racetrack. This race will not leave you cold at all. It will be red hot action to the end of the race on Norolampi right now. A bit behind Kalle Ruokala and Michael van den Berg side by side going into the first turn. And it is Kalle Ruokala, the past champion, who is able to hold on to his position for now. But we saw last season, I think at Interlagos, what kind of speed reserves the Dutchman Michael van den Berg has on his sleeves if he has committed to practice properly, if he has done his homework, then he can be a very formidable opponent even for a past champion. So, battles raging all around the racetrack. The top 3 has gone away. It is still in shape of Joni Takanen, Sergio Macias and Joni Beckman. Joni Takanen leads by 6.3 seconds as we are in lap 17 of this race. Sergio Macias is also some 6.5 seconds in fact ahead of Joni Beckman at the moment. Beckman is in the 3rd position. He is he's something like 5.8 seconds ahead of Nuno Moreira at the moment, and then it's all about battling. Nuno Moreira, Juha Norolampi, this battle rages on for the 4th position. Then Fabian Kalle Ruokala and Michael van den Berg for the 8th position. I think Juha is right now looking once again very close to the back of Nuno Moreira, also a bit too close, going a little bit wide on the entry of the Casio Triangle, and as a result of that, Nuno Moreira can rest easy for one more lap. Lap 17 turning into lap 18, and that means with quick maths there are 6 laps to go in your motor race, so anything can and usually will still happen early on. What do you think, Tapani? So far in this race we've seen some very good action, some very good overtaking, some very good pace, and also some collisions. If you had to take away one note home, or had to say one thing to one driver, you can pick any one driver of this field and say one tip to him. What would it be and to whom?
Oh my.
Yeah, you're going to get lynched for this one.
Didn't give me much warning, did it? You?
No.
Oh well, I think I might say to Hagner, because he's certainly have done the learning today. When you commit, but leave some room.
Indeed so, indeed so.
And it is not a criticism at such. It's more like a good guideline.
For the future. Some, let's say, future considerations for Mr. Hagner from you. Either way, Nuno Moreira and Juha Norolampi still very close to each other, and also another interesting thing to note is that Michael van den Berg seems to have lost a little bit of time to Kalle Ruokala last time by. Also, Joni Hagner is once again now, or this time by, catching up to the back of Cedric Crocic for the 11th position in this race. I apologize wholeheartedly, Cedric. I have no idea how to pronounce that last name. I will learn it soon.
I'd like to point out Mark Pickford. Oh, gotcha, not fight in Spoon at the moment.
Yes,
Very
indeed,
close.
and there is a lot more than kittens on display here. Mark Pickford and Gorchinet battling it out for the 13th position in this race. Our director pointed out if he had to say one tip, then it's to Mark Pickford, less wing next time. Let's see if Mark can pull it off here on the outside of 130R. Yes, he can hold it there. That is incredible. And to the inside, into the Castle Triangle. Can he break late enough? The answer is not quite so. For now, for the time being, Gorchenet can hold on, but this is very, very red hot here. Well spotted, Tapani, well spotted indeed. This battle is a good one. So Mark Pickford and Gorchenet. Mark Pickford, of course, a very experienced driver in this series, so he will try his hardest to get a good position here in the most important race of the week. Also, another driver who will be looking to join this battle very soon indeed is Andrea Ventura, Dr. Ventura, who was relegated from well within the top 10 to the outskirts of top 20. Right now, he has clawed his way back in this battle for the 13th position, at least for now. So it's looking to be a three-way battle between Gorchenet, Mark Pickford and Andrea Ventura soon enough, and that is going to be very interesting and very entertaining to watch indeed.
Andrea will be very happy to join this fight with that broken front wing.
Yep, indeed so. The front wing is not looking happy at all, but Andrea, I think, is looking happy, and he is also looking for the challenge. And oh, it seems to be that Gorchenet made a little bit of a mistake, locked his brakes up just a little bit, braking into the hairpin, and that is gonna allow Mark Pickford to have a chance once again heading into the spoon. No, not quite close enough, but as they head to the long back straight of the circuit and towards 130R for the fifth to last time, I think Mark Pickford is going to push the throttle pedal out of the floor of the car just to get a little bit of more straight line speed. Just say, come on, just a little bit more. I want to have my chance. But right now he is also seeing Andrea Ventura in his mirrors, closing up, getting larger and larger. That front wing of Andrea Ventura, that broken front wing of Andrea Ventura getting larger and larger in his mirrors. Perhaps if he would be savvy here, if he would be really wanting to play here, could you think that he could allow perhaps Andrea Ventura pass and let him have a shot at Gorchenet, as Gord makes a little bit of a mistake at the last corner. Mark Pickford once again looking to the outside at the first turn. Can he pull it off? He's very far away indeed, and no, he can't, but still Gord defending the inside very gallantly here. Mark looking for the crossover in the first part of the SS, but not quite close enough. So back to my original point. At this position where Mark Pickford is right now, he's having a very difficult time to overtake Gorchenet. Could you think that the thought crosses his mind that he lets Andrea Ventura pass, then lets Andrea and Gord battle it out and nab both of those positions at the same time?
No, I wouldn't do that. Andrea is struggling with the car with a broken front wing, and I think he seems happy to keep up with the two when they're fighting. And maybe if he's lucky, he could snatch a position or two. But I don't think he has the raw pace to challenge purely on speed.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but if he would be with a car that will be in full condition,
yes,
I would be in Mark Pickford.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, but I'm never a fan of conceding position purely strategically. It doesn't feel right.
Well, hey, do anything you must win. I mean, that's...
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
If you,
and the ends justify the means.
Just to me, it feels slightly far-fetched.
Yeah, fair enough. And these are old school racing drivers. Oh, Mark Pickford goes to the outside and they prefer to battle it out. Gorchenet to the inside. He misses his braking point. In fact, both of them, I think, miss it just a little bit. And oh, Gorchenet goes really wide on the exit of Casio Triangle. And that might give Mark Pickford a chance once again as they head towards the first corner of this track in lap number 21. So he has just 3 laps to go to the end of this race. Gorchenet once again taking the inside line, perhaps a little bit unnecessarily, mind you, because Mark was not close enough to dive bomb there. Oh, Gorchenet gets a little very sideways of an exit out of the first turn. As a result, that Mark is closing up once again. His more wing plan, his more downforce plan seems to be working very well for him in the SS section of the track. But the problem is in the S is that you can't really overtake there. He has to make the move somewhere else. Can he do it here at the Dunlop corner? It can be done if you get a good exit, but it is very hairy indeed. Into Deckner number 1. That is not an overtaking position we see traditionally, and as a result of that, Mark Pickford seems to be just holding on to the back of Gorchenet for now. Into the hairpin they come for the third to last time. Mark Pickford still behind Gorchenet here and will be still staying behind, also braking very early and concentrating on the exit. Instead, Andre Van George is watching the battle and hoping right now that they can escape this battle unscathed. Joni Hagner also still close to Cedric right now, as is Michael van den Berg to Kalle Ruokala, as is Fabian Gerber ever closing up to the back of Alex Milvar 4/10 of a second last time by, and Johanna Lampi also still very close to Nuno Moreira. They come to the main straight once again in a battle for the 4th position. There's so many battles going on in this race that I can't quite keep up with them, and that is of course a sign of a very good and very entertaining motor race for the penultimate time. Johanna Lampi and Nuno Moreira coming through the first turn. They are also coming up to some lap traffic in the form of Rafael Cabrera. Meanwhile, further back, I think we have some action between Gorchenet. Indeed, Mark Pickford getting the overtake done outside of the pictures. Very late break and a very brave move into the Casio triangle, and now Gorchenet is under pressure from Andrea Ventura. But Mark Pickford finally getting the overtake done. Now the question is, can he pull away?
He has seemed to be faster on the high downforce quick bits, S's into Dunlop and Degners. We'll see if he can make a little bit of gap. I don't think Gorchenet has a chance anymore.
Fair enough, that's what I would think too. So, he makes the move stick in the second to last lap. As a matter of fact, Joni Hagner also has gotten past Cedric Forczyk in the meanwhile, so he is still holding on to the 11th position, but hopelessly far from Xavier Sanchez right now. So the hottest battle on the track seems to be at this moment between Nuno Moreira and Juhano Lampi as they come soon to the last lap of this race. Joni Takanen already taking the white flag. He is holding a comfortable lead over Sergio Macias, 8.5 seconds as they come to the last lap of this race. Joni Beckman is in 3rd position, but the 4th position, it is still very much contested indeed. Juno Moreira breaking a little bit late into the Casio triangle, and that's gonna allow Juhano Lampi for a chance to overtake in the last lap of this race as they come to the first corner. Following the draft, Nuno Moreira closing up the inside, defending very well and making his intentions clear. He will not let the Finn overtake him here on the last lap, not like this. And Juhano Lampi taking the hint also and not going for that chance, and getting really sideways on the exit at the moment, so he realistically has only 2 more chances into the hairpin and onto the Casio triangle. Those are his chances.
Well, I'm not sure about the hairpin, but Casio triangle, sure.
You can make it work if you're brave and have a little bit of cooperation. Although, with that said, I wouldn't expect it from Juhano Lampi. And Nuno goes very sideways indeed at Degner number 1. Hits the curb a little bit, and into the hairpin they come, and they are side by side. And will you pick up the phone because I called it? And Juhano Lampi flies to the outside, forcing Nuno Moreira to take defensive line, but Nuno gets a very good exit due to the camber of the corner, but they were still side by side to the hairpin last time by. Meanwhile, in the race lead is Joni Takanen coming towards the 130R for the last time. Meanwhile, Juhano Lampi is still challenging into the spoon, but loses so much time here that I think his battle is done at this point. So it is Joni Takanen coming towards the checkered flag for the last time in this race and wins the first race of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix season here at Suzuka. What an incredible performance from Mr. Takanen here, taking this league by a storm in his first full season. Sergio Macias, defending champion, fighting very well, taking this 2nd place, and Joni Beckman is coming home after a hard-fought 3rd position, which I think exceeded the expectations of everybody. Nuno Moreira taking the 4th position, holding on from the attacks of Juhano Lampi, who is coming home in the 5th place. Then it is Alex Milward. What a performance from him. Car number 28 coming home in the 6th position in this race. Fabian Gerber 7th, then Kalle Ruokala in the 8th place, just ahead of Michael van den Berg, who will be 9th. And rounding out your top 10, it is going to be the Spaniard, Xavier Sanchez, just holding on from Joni Hagner, who will be coming home in 11th. Cedric Forczyk in the 12th position. Then it is the Kidden, Mark Pickford, 13th place. What a great drive from him too. That will sure boost his morale. Gorchenet 14th, and then we wait on I think Andre Ventura was, yes, he finished home 15th, I just missed him coming over the line. David Rodriguez 16th, Rosten Kaul, then Teemu Toikka, who will be coming home in the 18th position with a smashed up front wing, but still coming home and taking some very important points indeed. Coming through the last chicane is Teemu Toikka. Brian D. Howard will be 19th. Sam Wilchar, who joined the race of the last season and said that already earlier on in this race that he wished that he would be in the commentary booth right now because he was getting a cold shower in this race. 20th position, so Sean will have to look to increase his pace as the season goes along, but I'm sure such an experienced and a clever driver will find his way. Jesus Basilas in the 21st position, and I think he is the last driver to finish on the lead lap in this race. Yes, it is. Nathaniel Porter finishing one lap down and 10 the least of retirees, and it is a tough one. Gernot Fritsch, Tobias Gerber, Gerd Höfer, Ian Card, Joonas Nukarinen, Joni Heikkinen, Julien Flora and Travis Walling are all out of your motor race, but still 22 drivers finishing with 21 of them in the lead lap. But the winner of the first race of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix here at Suzuka is Joni Takanen. And well, aside from the start which could have been better, I think there is 9.5 maybe out of 10 as a grade for his race, because that was very close to perfect.
Yeah, it was faultless after the first half of the first lap.
Indeed so.
And a couple of donuts to celebrate.
Yeah, and that is a right thing to do indeed. That is a right thing to do for Joni Takanen, and why not? Because it is his first win of the season in our broadcast races, and I don't think it will be the only one, because he did very well here tonight. Very well indeed. So we will perhaps wait and see if we can hear his thoughts on this race, because that was a very good one indeed. So, and it seems like to me that we are seeing a familiar figure here outside of our broadcast booth. So I'll grab a mic in hand and interview our race winner yourself, if you can hear me. Joni Takanen from Glacier Racing. Yeah, I mean, what grade would you give to yourself after that race? I mean, that was very close to perfect.
Almost perfect, yeah. The start was horrifying for me. I almost missed that first place to Masias.
Yeah, I was commenting on that chat right now. In fact, you seem to be under attack for the first half of the first lap. So what goes through the driver's mind at that point? Like, you didn't seem to be wanting to give that position away. Did you trust that your pace, your raw speed, would be enough to pull away once the situation would settle?
Yeah, I was pretty sure that my raw pace would give me some room. I don't know how fast Sergio would go in straight, so I didn't want to give him that first place at all.
Yeah, and that's a very good plan if you are going to win motor races. You don't want to give away the lead. So yeah, congratulations for you for a great race indeed. Is there anything, well, put it in your own words. How would you describe your own race from start to finish? Don't say boring.
Time trial.
Yes, indeed. So pretty much a time trial against the clock. 45 minutes of hot lap pure performance and pure raw speed. I think from now on, Mr. Takanen, you have a target on your back from the other drivers in this series. But anyway, if you have anything to add, if you have anything to say, any thanks to the sponsors or greetings to your friends, feel free to do so. Your race winner, ladies and gentlemen, at the first race of the season from Madonummin Halikko, Joni Takanen.
Yeah, thank you. Got to say to my sponsors, Communico and Tihahe, that thank you for the equipment you have sponsored to me. Thank you. And also Glacier Racing, you are doing very good job.
Yes, Glacier Racing did very well in this race. Very well for themselves indeed. Thank you, Joni Takanen, for joining us in the interview booth. And next up we have the man who finished in the third position and forming out the podium which has two Jonis in it. Joni Backman, it was a very, very, very good drive from you from start to finish, but did you expect to finish third in this race? or on the podium?
Not in a million years.
Yeah, I was commenting on that earlier on because you started from the 4th position. You were 5th in practice, you started in the 4th position and you finished the race in 3rd. You had a very interesting battle early on. Talk us through that.
Yeah, well, first off, like after the qualifying, I pretty much nailed the fastest lap I'm able to pull with my skill set. After the qualifying, I was like, what? 0.2 from Gernot. I was like, what the hell is this? So, but after that, I figured I knew I was a good starter with this car, and after going the 2x2 into turn 1, I was planning on taking the middle road and the outside line, but then after I saw that the formation is going to stay, I pulled back to the inside because I knew I was be able to catch Gernot from there. And I did, even though I kind of screwed up the turn 3 a little bit. But after that, I knew Gernot had much less wing than I had, so he had immense runs every time approaching the hairpin, the chicane. And especially after I lost the draft from Sergio, I knew that the speed difference he gains on me every time before the braking was going to be critical. So I pretty much used like 100% of my skill set to keep Gernot behind me, and unfortunately Gernot's race ended with the technical failure. But since I was able to keep him behind me until he had that failure, it's like a moral win for me.
Yeah, that was very well done. So after Gernot had his mishap, his throttle got stuck, as a matter of fact, in the middle of the race. That was very unfortunate of him. From 10 on, was it difficult to keep concentration when you were suddenly all by yourself?
No, actually, I was after I lost draft from Sergio, I forgot to change my rear ARB settings. So I was driving overly stiff ARB for the first 5 laps after I lost the draft. So I was wondering for 5 laps, what the hell is wrong with the last chicane? I get like huge wheel spin every time I exit it. But after I realized what was wrong, it was a lot easier for me. And especially after Gernot got away from my mirrors, I instantly hit a race PB, and I was basically losing 0.2 or 0.3 every time into turn 1 when Gernot was behind me, because I was forced to do like a kind of a late brake maneuver in order to stop any forcing passing attempts. So after I lost him from my mirrors, it was a lot easier to get consistent full laps in, and not really outside of the pouring sweat, nothing dramatic.
Very good indeed. So coming home in the 3rd position and the 2nd Joni in the podium, as a founder and team owner of Glacier Racing, how satisfying is this result?
Very. Pretty much maximum but that we could get. I mean, I was targeting top 5, but getting P1 and P3 is like pretty much the maximum.
Indeed so. A very satisfying result of the first week. Let's hope you guys can keep your form going later on in the season. Joni Beckman, thank you very much for joining us in the broadcast booth. Always a pleasure to talk to you. If you have anything to add, greetings to your sponsors or saying hi to your friends, feel free to do so, in English or in Finnish.
I dislike Suzuka very much, so looking forward to every other track in the schedule, and kiitos Takaselle hyvästä setistä.
Even
I'm
Barber?
off the shower.
Even Barber?
Even Barber.
Fair enough.
Because Nukarinen hates that track.
And because you don't really, but I don't think you really need Barber, no?
I don't need Barber, but I would still like to own a Barber, especially if she's good looking.
Fair point. So thank you very much to Joni Beckman. Always a pleasure to talk to you, joining us in the interview section. And next up, it is Tapani Linnaluoto grabbing the microphone away from my hands, and he is going to interview the man who finished in the 5th position on the first broadcast race of the season, Juha Norolampi.
So, Mr. Juha Norolampi, you had a very good-looking race with Nuno Moreira in the final laps, at least. How did it go in your own view?
Yeah, thanks, Tapani. We had a great battle with Nuno almost all the time, and it was good racing. But he has a better straight line speed, so I have no chance to overtake him. Even besides that, he would make some mistakes, and he did 1 or 2 little mistakes, but I couldn't take advantage of that.
Are you happy with 5th position?
Yes, I'm really happy because there is some crazy Finnish people right now attending our races, and Jonis and other guys, you and Joonas and everyone, you are crazy fast. So I'm almost speechless how good this went, because I was so tired, and perhaps I couldn't relax during the race at all. But I'm glad that I didn't make any bad mistakes.
Anything you want to add in English or in Finnish?
No, thanks guys again for the broadcast, and anything else, and good luck for the next races, and good Christmas, and should I say Merry Christmas to all if we don't see any more before that. Bye.
Cheers.
So that was the man who finished in the 5th place of this race, Johanna Lampi, up for an interview. And next up, we have the man from Pori. And first of all, Joni Hagner finishing in the 11th position of this race. I got to ask you, rumors were saying, little birds were singing, that Joni, it was your first Lotus 79 race ever. Is it true?
Yes.
So, how did it go, in your opinion, in your own words?
Well, I was quite good position at the start. Surprised that I was so fast in qualifying and managed to get ahead of Kalle and a few others who I know is faster than me. Start was pretty hectic and people were driving really slow. That surprised me. And then I found myself in 8th position and started to challenge. Was it Mark or something? Alex? Yes, Alex. And few laps we fought quite hard, and we touched wheels in that turn 1 and get some airtime. But it was quite fun.
So later on in the race, you also had good battles with Xavier Sanchez and Cedric Krolczyk. So those battles were reaching on to the end of the race. You also had a little bit of a moment at Dunlop. Was that, let's just put it this way, do you need new underwear?
No. More of the problem there was that I was driving with the F1 rim, and when you got a handful of wheel, and I don't know how you do say that in English, but you grab the wrong place and there is no wheel, and it's quite fun at the moment.
So that's a very interesting thing to happen. You know, you're grabbing by the hand, and then you notice that there is just emptiness. So after that little bit of a mishap of a moment, you had to kind of like collect yourself, and then how did you get past Cedric for that 11th position?
All or nothing dive bomb in the last chicane, because I was faster there.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting plan. That's certainly an interesting plan. And final question before we let you go. Second to last question, last of the final questions proper. Joni Hagner, will we see you in the future as well?
Maybe 1 or 2 races in selected tracks, but nothing more.
Okay, so we will see you in the all upcoming races of this season. Thank you very much, Joni Hagner, the man from Pori. And if there's anything you would like to add, thanks to your sponsors or greetings to your friends in English or in Finnish, you are feel free to do so. Joni Hagner finishing in position number 11, everybody.
Kiitos, äiti, oli hyvää ruokaa tänään.
And there we go. Greetings to the home. Greetings to Mother for some good food. And that is always a very, very good, another good cause to actually give a shout out to. And then we also have one more driver joining in. Well, not joining in for the interviews, it seems. Joining briefly for our interview booth. Let's see if we can bring him back. I think it was the man who finished in the 6th position, Alex Milward, but we'll have to wait and see if we can get him back. Meanwhile, Tapani Linnaluoto, your driver of the race, please. Who was your driver of the race and who do you think surprised you the most, or who are you looking forward to seeing next week?
Well, Takanen was faultless, but aside from him, I'd say Alex Milward put in a very good performance for a new driver. Well, I think those two.
So Joni Takanen and Alex Milward, I would actually agree with that one. I would also have to point out the race performance of Mr. Mark Pickford, just because he started from the 24th position in a car which had a lot of wing and ended up in the 13th place, which is a very, very good finish for the established veteran. And also a couple of other newcomers as well. Joni Hagner especially. We know that he's a talented driver, but as a newcomer in this car, granted Takanen is a newcomer too, but Joni Hagner finishing in the 11th position and battling briefly for even the 7th place exceeded my expectations certainly. I am personally looking forward to seeing the battles raging throughout the race season. Because we have such a class in the field this year. You can just look at the top 10 that is in this race and see that there's so much class in that field. And then you look at the list of retirees and you see that there's names like Gernot Fritsch, Tobias Gerber, Ian Card, Joonas Nukarinen, Joni Heikkinen, for example, as drivers who were out of this race early on. So I think we are going to see some very, very good battles, for example, next week at Barber and later on in this season. So one final question I think, before we start to end this broadcast. Who do you think early on? I know it's early, it's the first week of the season and I'm already talking about the championship. But do you think the championship changes hands once again? Do you think we could see another new driver putting a claim in at the championship, like Sergio did last season?
Well, if it of course depends how many races people drive and how much they commit to the series, but I'm expecting Takanen to be very strong this season. He's been fast from the beginning in this car, and I'm expecting more of the same. But of course, I don't know if the relative strengths are different in different tracks. Barber is a very different track to this one. It requires a bit different skills, and it's not a very often driven track, so you can see some differences there, and it's a very different setup as well for the car. I'm interested to see how things go next week.
One more question to you, actually, reminding of the last question. What are the keys to winning a championship? How do you win a championship?
You finish consistently in top 3 or so in the most important races. That's about it.
That's a very straightforward answer from a very straightforward man. So thank you, Tapani, for joining me in the broadcast booth this week, and I will be looking to hear and ask some difficult questions and hear from your expert answers throughout the rest of the season as well. Thank you to all of the drivers who joined us in on the interview booth as well, and thank you to all of the viewers who watched this race, because it would be kind of pointless to do a race if nobody would watch it. That would feel a little bit wrong. Either way, this was the first race of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix season. Look forward to 11 more weeks of action from this season, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. GMT. Put that time on your calendar right now, because it will provide some of the most brilliant and exciting sim racing on the planet. I was Joonas Puhakka. Alongside with me on the broadcast booth, as per usual, was Tapani Linnaluoto, and behind the cameras doing the work of 5-man, Aleksi Elomaa. I bid you a very, very good evening. Thank you for watching and good night.
Cheers.